During the stormy weather, I learned my boyfriend was working late. Soaked to the bone, I asked him to come to my apartment for a shower before heading back. But then my boyfriend said, no need. Chloe's apartment is closer from here, I'll just shower there. I was stunned. Looking back, ever since Ethan and I started dating, he'd often bragged about being a model ex-partner. Even after their breakup, he remained close with his ex, Chloe. He'd celebrate her birthday, travel with her, and even shower and stay overnight at her place. I didn't want a love that had no boundaries. Ethan, we're over. Half an hour after we broke up, Ethan rushed to my apartment through the rain. The moment the fingerprint lock clicked open, I secretly cursed myself. In my haste to break up, how could I forget to delete Ethan's fingerprint access? The pouring rain had soaked Ethan's hair, revealing his smooth, broad forehead and those deeply expressive eyes that could make even a dog feel special. I couldn't deny it. I'd initially accepted Ethan's courtship mainly because of his face, which was like a movie star's. But no matter how handsome a face, once it's shared with another woman, it feels tainted. Ethan walked over, knelt by the couch, and gently shook my hand. Grace, are you really breaking up with me just because I took a shower at Chloe's place on the way? Come on, don't be mad. I really didn't mean anything by it, it was just on my way. Your apartment is too far from my office. If I came here to shower and then went back home to sleep, it would add an hour to my commute. Chloe's place is close to my office, and she happens to have a spare bedroom, so I just went over there to shower and rest. I swear, there's absolutely nothing going on between Chloe and me. I pulled my hand away, and with a cold expression, said, no need to explain. We're breaking up. Ethan froze for a moment, then suddenly chuckled. Are you jealous? Grace, I told you, Chloe and I are ancient history. You broke up amicably, no need for bad blood. We're adults, we can still be friends even if we're not together. I sneered, cutting off his self-righteous defense. Do good friends shower together, just the two of them alone? Do good friends lie in bed together playing video games? Ethan, sometimes I honestly feel like I'm the ex-girlfriend who's already broken up with you. Chloe seems more like your current girlfriend. Ethan fell silent for a moment, then affectionately patted my head, smiling as he said, all right, if you don't like it, then I'll try my best not to go to Chloe's place anymore. How's that? I slapped his hand away. Ethan, don't you get it? The core issue isn't whether you go to Chloe's apartment or not. It's the complete lack of boundaries between you two. Ethan's smile faded. Grace, we're adults. Can you stop being so childish, constantly threatening to cut ties? Do you know what adult maturity means? Yes, Chloe and I broke up. But our families have decades of family friendship, and our parents live in the same neighborhood. You can't expect me, or my parents, to cut ties completely with them just because Chloe and I broke up, can you? Listening to Ethan's self-righteous excuses, I laughed in anger. I pulled out my phone, found the video Chloe had sent me, and shoved it right in front of his face. Is this what you call adult maturity? Chloe had just sent me the video. My boyfriend, showering openly in a glass shower stall, completely oblivious to his ex-girlfriend's presence. In the video, Chloe's flirty laugh echoed. Ethan, you're sleeping over tonight, won't your girlfriend get mad if she finds out? From the sound of it, Chloe must have been leaning by the door, watching my boyfriend shower right in front of her. They were completely uninhibited, like a long-married couple who had lived together for years. Through the shower stall, Ethan laughed and said, no, she won't. I've told Grace that even if we broke up, we're still the best of friends. We're adults, Grace will understand. I scoffed, Ethan, don't insult the word adult. Normal adults don't shower at their ex-girlfriend's house after a breakup, and certainly don't sleep there overnight. If you want to get back with Chloe, just say so. I'll let you. Why be so sneaky, hiding behind adult friendship as an excuse? You're having your cake and eating it too. You're utterly contemptible. Watching the video loop repeatedly, Ethan's face paled, and he nervously grabbed my hand. Grace, let me explain. I'm just used to interacting with Chloe like this. I truly have no intention of getting back together with her. If you don't believe me, I'll call her over right now and have her explain it to you in person. No need. I stood up and opened the door. I told you, whether you and Chloe cut ties completely or continue your ambiguous entanglement, it has nothing to do with me. Ethan, we are completely over. Ethan ran a frustrated hand through his hair. Grace, I know you're angry right now. I won't argue with you. How about this? Let's both cool off tonight. Tomorrow morning, I'll bring Chloe over and have her explain everything to you herself. Without waiting for me to reply, Ethan stood up and left. I sank back onto the couch, feeling helpless. It was always like this. Every time we faced a problem, Ethan chose to run away. I knew he had definitely gone back to his ex, Chloe. Sure enough, a little while later, another video arrived on my phone. In the video, Ethan was sitting at Chloe's bar counter, drowning his sorrows in alcohol. The camera panned, and Chloe, subtly triumphant, spoke into it, "Grace, please don't be mad. Ethan is just used to coming here, he can't change it overnight. I just gave him a good scolding, and he knows he was wrong. It's too late now, so let him stay here tonight. Tomorrow, when he's sober, I promise I'll make him apologize to you properly, okay?" At the end of the video, Chloe intimately touched Ethan's earlobe. Like coaxing a child, she whispered, "Ethan, Grace is really mad this time. Maybe you shouldn't stay here tonight? Grace is right, we've broken up, so we should definitely avoid any misunderstandings." Ethan, looking annoyed, tilted his head back and gulped down half a glass of liquor. "Avoid what? When I knew you, Grace had no idea where she was. We're adults. Who says you have to cut ties completely after a breakup? I told you, even after we broke up, we're still the best of friends. Grace is just narrow-minded and jealous, she'll get over it once she cools down." A little while later, Chloe sent another photo. In the picture, Ethan was lying on Chloe's pink bedsheets, his chest exposed. A small, fair hand was holding a damp towel, wiping alcohol stains from his chest. Chloe's faint apologetic voice came from the other end of the phone, "Grace, please don't misunderstand. Ethan got drunk and forgot we'd broken up, so he habitually ran into my room. Don't worry, once I settle him in, I'll sleep next door. Ethan and I are just good friends now. Grace, please don't overthink it." I let out a bitter laugh and downloaded both the photo and the video. This wasn't the first time Ethan had mistakenly gone into her room. But I no longer wanted to play a part in their three-person love story. "Ethan, we're done." Opening my computer, I saw the invitation from abroad in my email inbox, and I suddenly smiled. Just yesterday, I had happily turned down Sophia's invitation, telling her I was getting married. Everyone thought our wedding was imminent, waiting for Ethan's and my wedding invitations. I looked at the invitation I had personally designed on the computer, moved the mouse, and gently clicked the delete button. Wiping away my tears, I calculated the time difference. It was exactly when Sophia would be at work. I picked up my phone and video called Sophia. "Grace? Calling me so early, has the wedding date been set? Tell me. I promised my father, my mentor, that when you got married, I support system." My father, my mentor, had run a serenity clinic. Sophia was one of his many apprentices. Later, Sophia started a business abroad, opening several serenity clinics there. When my father passed away, Sophia flew back home for over 10 hours, crying at his graveside, saying that since he was gone, support system. After and I made our relationship official, Sophia flew back home again, support system, invited Ethan to dinner. It was at that dinner that I discovered Chloe's existence. That time, it was clearly a dinner for our two families, yet Chloe showed up uninvited. She even brazenly declared that even after breaking up, she and Ethan would remain best friends for life. Now that her best friend was getting married, it was only normal for her, as a friend, to come and vet Ethan. How normal. Sophia and the other male colleagues' faces immediately fell. But back then, I was so caught up in Ethan's tenderness and consideration that after he swore he would keep his distance from his ex, I weakly forgave him. After returning home, Sophia said no more, but simply sent me an invitation. "Grace, you're my father, my mentor's only beloved daughter. If you're unhappy in my hometown, you're always welcome to come to my side. My team will always have a spot reserved for you." Now that I think about it, perhaps even then, the wise Sophia had already seen through the relationship between Ethan and Chloe. Only I, like an idiot, was still foolishly in the dark. Swallowing the bitterness in my heart, I forced a small smile and said to Sophia, "There won't be a wedding, Sophia. Ethan and I have broken up." Sophia paused. "Is it because of his ex?" I nodded bitterly and recounted everything that had happened last night, exactly as it occurred, to Sophia. Sophia seemed to have expected it, sighing. I could tell at dinner that day, Ethan and his ex were nowhere near done with each other. After saying that, Sophia looked at me cautiously. "Gee. Race, what are you planning to do now?" "Sophia, I want to join your team. I just don't know if you still have any suitable positions for me there." Sophia smiled. "Grace, you underestimate yourself. Your acupuncture and massage skills are top-notch back home, let alone abroad. I'll book your flight right away. I guarantee that within 3 years, with your abilities, you'll be fully capable of managing a branch on your own." After hanging up, my phone quickly received the flight details from Sophia. The boarding time was for the evening of the day after tomorrow. The next day, I started dealing with some matters back home. This apartment was left to me by my father. I didn't want to sell it, so I simply found an agent and signed a 5-year lease agreement in one go. There were also some gifts Ethan had given me at home. I packed them all up, called a delivery service to pick them up, and sent them to his office. Lastly, there were the wedding photos and wedding photographer, for which I'd already paid a deposit. I planned to go to the bridal boutique and see if I could get any of it back. To my surprise, as soon as I arrived at the bridal boutique, I looked up and saw Ethan, dressed in a suit, standing outside the fitting room. When saw me, he clearly panicked. "Grace, what are you doing here?" I quirked my lips. "What about you? What are you doing here?" Ethan stammered. Just then, the fitting room door opened. Chloe's charming and lively voice floated out. "Ethan, quickly, help me see if this wedding dress is too revealing. I'm not like your fiancée, with such a revealing style, it makes her look very experienced. You should be careful. Fooling around before marriage is one thing, but after you're married, don't let her cheat on you." Ethan's face changed, and he instinctively rushed to the fitting room door, shielding Chloe behind him. "Chloe, stop talking. Grace is here." A moment of silence from inside, then Chloe, wearing the wedding dress I had ordered, walked up to Ethan. Seeing my expression, Ethan instinctively pulled Chloe behind him. "Grace, I can see you're still upset." Plus, Chloe said her biggest regret was not getting to wear a wedding dress to marry me, so I thought, why not just let Chloe try on your wedding dress for you first? Hiding behind Ethan, Chloe triumphantly raised an eyebrow at me, then deliberately pointed to the chest of the wedding dress and said, "That's right, Grace. It's a good thing I tried it on for you first. Ethan and I both think this wedding dress is a bit too revealing. You might not know, but Ethan's parents are very traditional elders. They don't like their daughter-in-law to dress too provocatively. I know you have a great figure, Grace, but on such an important day, wouldn't it be inappropriate to wear something so revealing?" Hearing's words, Ethan instinctively nodded. "Grace, Chloe has a point. My parents are very conservative, so maybe you should choose a different wedding dress?" I laughed. "Change what wedding dress? I think it would be more convenient if you just changed the bride." Ethan's face darkened. "Grace, what do you mean by that?" I cast a cold glance at him. "It means, Ethan, since your parents like a daughter-in-law like Chloe, why don't you two just get married?" As I spoke, I pulled out the deposit receipt and handed it to him. "Since the bride has been swapped, you can't expect me, your ex-girlfriend, to pay for the wedding photos, can you?" Ethan's face instantly changed. "Grace, are you serious?" Chloe suddenly let out a sob and desperately tugged the wedding dress downwards. Watching the rhinestones falling off the wedding dress with a clatter, a store assistant shrieked. "This is our latest design, a custom wedding dress worth $380,000. Chloe's movement stiffened, and she instinctively pointed at me. "It's not my fault, this wedding dress was ordered by her. I was just kindly helping her try it on." After speaking, she Oli grabbed Ethan's arm. "Ethan, you know my parents run a small business. The market hasn't been good these past few years. I can't afford to pay them that much money." Ethan reassuringly patted Chloe, then turned to me and said, "Grace, this is mostly your fault. Chloe was kindly helping you try on the wedding dress. If you hadn't suddenly thrown a tantrum just now, Chloe wouldn't have rushed to take it off and return it to you, thus damaging it. How about this? You pay for the wedding dress for Chloe, and we'll consider this matter closed." I scoffed. "Ethan, who am I to her? Why should I pay for a wedding dress she damaged?" Ethan said impatiently, "Chloe accidentally damaged it because she was kindly trying on the wedding dress for you." "Did I ask her to try it on for me?" I demanded coldly. Ethan paused, then, furious and embarrassed, snapped, "It was me. I told her to try it on for you, alright?" I turned to the store assistant and said, "You all heard that, right? While this wedding dress was indeed ordered by me, your store lent my reserved wedding dress to someone else without permission. According to the contract, not only am I not obligated to pay for any damages, but I also have the right to demand a full refund of the deposit for this wedding dress." Hearing my words, the store assistant and manager both panicked. Several people quickly gathered, surrounding Ethan and Chloe. Ethan pulled Chloe into his arms, looking at me with a mix of shock and anger. "Grace, what do you mean? We're about to get married. I brought someone to try on the wedding dress you ordered, and that's not allowed? If you didn't want anyone to try it on, why didn't you tell me beforehand? Now the wedding dress is damaged, and you want Chloe to pay for it? Is that how a fiancé acts?" I sneered coldly, standing my ground. "Ethan, you brought another woman to secretly try on the wedding dress I ordered, and you didn't tell me beforehand either, did you? Also, if I'm not mistaken, you're an only child, right? Where did this sister-in-law come from? You have the nerve to call me that? At this, a store assistant nearby, unable to bear it, mumbled, I don't think she's a sister-in-law, more like a lover. How shameless. Almost married, and he's bringing his mistress to the store to try on wedding dresses behind his fiancée's back. Seeing the disdainful looks from the store assistants, Chloe's tears fell in large drops. Grace, I know you mind that Ethan and I were each other's first loves. But I've already explained to you that Ethan and I are ancient history. We're adults, so do we really have to cut ties completely after a breakup? Ethan and I agreed that even if we broke up, we'd be friends and family for life. You can slander me, you can frame me, but you can't accuse me of being the other woman. Ethan held Chloe sympathetically, looking at me as if he wanted to devour me. Grace, apologize. Go to hell. I grabbed a nearby cup, full of tea, and violently splashed it on Ethan's face. Are you sober now? Shall I have someone retrieve the security footage to see who shamelessly tried on someone else's reserved wedding dress? Who deliberately caused mischief and damaged a custom wedding dress worth hundreds of thousands? Ethan's face was ashen, and he glared at me with a twisted expression. Grace, I'm warning you one last time. If you keep causing a scene, we're truly over. I scoffed, we've been over for a while. Chloe, hiding in Ethan's arms, flashed a triumphant smile and feigned persuasion. Grace, calm down. You and Ethan are about to get married. If you break up now, how will Ethan save face? Besides, Ethan's parents are very traditional people. If you make such a big scene and actually break up, knowing uncle and aunt, they would never let you marry into their family. Hearing's every word sounded like she was considering him. Ethan shot her an appreciative glance, then turned and looked at me with disdain. Grace, you better think carefully. Besides my family, who else would be willing to marry an orphan like you, with no parents? Hearing the words no parents, my mind buzzed, and I slapped Ethan hard across the face. The crisp sound of the slap instantly sobered Ethan up. He released Chloe in a panic and quickly stepped towards me, reaching out to grab my hand. Grace, listen to me, I didn't mean it like that. I'll handle the wedding dress situation. Don't be angry. How about we find a place and talk this out properly? No need. I took 2 steps back, staring at him coldly. Ethan, you utterly disgust me. I firmly demanded the bridal boutique refund the deposit. Knowing they were in the wrong, the boutique had no choice but to call the police, requesting Ethan and Chloe to compensate for the wedding dress damage. Chloe wept profusely. Ethan, helpless, could only pull out his debit card. I'm sorry, Mr. Robert, there's only 300,000 on this card, still 8,000 short. Ethan gritted his teeth and pleaded in a low voice, Grace, didn't my parents give you 80,000 for bridal jewelry and wedding photos? See, can you, please, put that 80,000 forward first? I swear, once this is over, I'll definitely pay you back that money. I scoffed, Ethan, you're too late. When I broke up with you last night, I wasn't kidding. Last night, I already transferred all the money and cash gifts your parents gave me back to them. Ethan's face went white, and he instinctively looked at Chloe beside him. Chloe, you did damage the wedding dress, after all. I'll pay the major portion for you, but for the remaining 80,000, how about you cover it yourself? Chloe's small face paled, and she forced a smile. Ethan, you know I live paycheck to paycheck. The little money I earn each month isn't even enough for myself. If you don't believe me, check my card yourself, I don't have 800, let alone 80,000. Without thinking, Ethan roared at Chloe, if you'd have money, ask your parents. You were the one who pestered me, insisting on trying on Grace's custom wedding dress. Now you've damaged it, and I've already agreed to pay 300,000 for you. You won't even cover the remaining 80,000? Chloe's face flushed crimson, and she flung Ethan's hand away. Yes. I begged you to bring me here, but if you hadn't brought me, how would I have damaged the wedding dress? Seeing the two of them turn on each other, a pathetic display of turn on each other, I scoffed and turned to leave. Ethan tried to follow me, but the store manager and several assistants firmly blocked him. After all, 380,000 wasn't a small sum. If ran off, who would they collect from? Leaving the bridal boutique, I went to Old. My father, my mentor's Serenity Clinic had been on this Old for over 30 years. The neighbors all knew me. Seeing me back, they smiled and asked when I'd be giving them wedding favors. In that moment, I suddenly remembered the first day I brought Ethan to Old. Learning that my parents were no longer alive, Ethan hugged me sympathetically. Grace, from now on, I am your family, and my mom and dad are your mom and dad too. That day, I held Ethan's hand and introduced him to every neighbor and old. Everyone had watched me grow up, and now seeing that I'd found such a gentle, considerate, handsome, and dashing boyfriend, they were all happy for me. Some of my father's close friends, who were well acquainted with him, even smiled and said that when Ethan and I got married, I absolutely had to send them wedding invitations. They wanted to witness me getting married on my father's behalf. That heartwarming scene felt like it was just yesterday. But I knew clearly that Ethan and I could never go back. The moment he used my deceased parents to threaten me, any possibility between us vanished. Walking into my mentor's clinic, I suddenly heard Ethan's parents' voices from outside the AK room. "Old man, are you really letting our son marry that unlucky girl with no parents? That's why you women are always so short-sighted. What's wrong with not having parents? A daughter-in-law without parents is easier to control. Anyway, support system. Once she marries in, everything her parents left her will eventually be ours. Besides, if Ethan marries a wife skilled in acupuncture and massage, when we get older and have aches or pains, we'll have a free nurse at home who can also give us therapy. You just wait to enjoy the good life." Hearing the loud laughter from the break room, I felt like I'd fallen into an ice cellar, trembling uncontrollably. So, it was all a scam. I had always believed Ethan's parents genuinely liked me, treating me like their own daughter. Even when Chloe repeatedly tried to sow discord, they firmly stood by me and scolded Ethan multiple times. Now that I think about it, their reluctance to have Chloe as their daughter-in-law was probably because Chloe had both parents and a large number of relatives and friends, making her truly difficult to control. Unlike me, if Ethan married me, he could not only naturally prey on a vulnerable family for their assets. Support system. Once I married in, I would be unburdened and able to serve their family like a slave. Quietly recording the conversation of these two old people, I went downstairs and said to the receptionist, "Cancel and Margaret's family discount cards. From now on, if they come for therapy at the Serenity Clinic, just charge them the regular price." After I started dating Ethan, I heard his parents weren't in good health and needed regular acupuncture and massage therapy. I immediately got them 2 family discount cards for the Serenity Clinic. Since the clinic was now co-managed by Leo and me, I also loaded 100,000 yuan onto each of those 2 cards. I originally thought this money would last them a long time. To my surprise, when I cancelled the family discount card, the receptionist let out a sigh of relief and awkwardly told me, "Little boss, it's a good thing you cancelled these 2 cards. Mr. Robert and Mrs. Margaret often brought all their relatives here for therapy using the cards. The money you put on them was almost gone." I laughed in anger. I hadn't even married into their family yet, and they were already treating me like a free blood bank? Knowing how much Robert and Margaret valued their reputation, I leaned in and whispered 2 sentences to the receptionist. A little while later, Robert and Margaret finished their therapy and came downstairs, habitually handing their family discount cards to the receptionist. The receptionist took the cards, feigned scanning them, and said with a troubled expression, "Mr. Robert, I'm sorry, but this card has a negative balance of over 95,000 yuan. Would it be convenient for you to settle the bill today?" Robert froze for a moment. "How is that possible? My daughter-in-law put 100,000 yuan on this card." Margaret also panicked. "Exactly. I even checked the balance specifically, both cards had 100,000 yuan. How could they be overdrawn?" The receptionist suppressed a smile and pointed to the back-end system, explaining to them, "The little boss did deposit 200,000 yuan previously. However, the last time the regulatory agency came for an inspection, they said that to prevent fraud, large deposits were prohibited. So, the clinic refunded all customers who had deposited more than 10,000 yuan. Robert's face was ashen. "Then why didn't you say so earlier?" Margaret was also furious. If she had known this money was coming out of their own pockets, how could she have invited so many people to the Serenity Clinic for free therapy? The receptionist said innocently, "You two aren't strangers. Our main boss is the little boss's mentor, and we heard the little boss was about to marry into your family, thinking you'd be family soon, and the little boss wouldn't possibly default on a payment. We didn't feel comfortable pressing you two for payment." Robert and Margaret's expressions twisted. Hearing that both cards together had an outstanding balance of 187,000 yuan, they immediately called Ethan. A little while later, Ethan rushed over. Hearing that his parents had accumulated a debt of over 180,000 yuan at the Serenity Clinic, he nearly fainted on the spot. "Dad, Mom, what kind of treatments did you get? Even if you had acupuncture all over your bodies, it wouldn't cost this much in half a year, would it?" Robert and Margaret, both concerned with their reputation, flushed crimson and said nothing. Ethan mistakenly thought his parents had been defrauded by the Serenity Clinic and started shouting that he would call the police. Robert and Margaret quickly stopped their son, then reluctantly explained that they had thought there was an endless supply of money on the cards, so they had brought all their relatives, as well as Robert's old friends, to experience the treatments. Ethan gasped sharply. Margaret quickly grabbed her son's arm. Ethan, isn't this Grace's clinic? Call her quickly and tell her to cancel the bill. Robert also put on his future father-in-law air. Ethan, Grace couldn't have intentionally hidden the refund from us, trying to trick our family out of money, could she? Margaret suddenly realized, grinding her teeth. It must be. She deliberately hid the refund from us, let us bring relatives and friends to consume, and then refused to acknowledge the debt afterward. This wicked girl is too manipulative, isn't she? Ethan, call Grace right now and tell her that if she doesn't settle this bill, your father and I will not agree to this marriage. Ethan opened his mouth, then said dejectedly, it's too late. Grace. She already broke up with me. What? With a thud, Margaret fainted on the spot. That evening, as I was packing my luggage at the hotel, Ethan's calls started coming in like crazy. I casually blocked his number. A little while later, he sent me several voice messages through a mutual friend's WhatsApp. Grace, why did you rent out the apartment? The wellness said my parents owe over 100,000, and my mom even fainted from anger. Call the receptionist right now and tell them to cancel the bill. The wedding dress thing, I was wrong, I apologize. But you can't just cancel the wedding without saying a word, can you? Grace, where are you? I'll come find you. Can we talk this out properly? I casually blocked that number as well. Ethan completely panicked and actually went to the Serenity Clinic to confront me. But he ended up getting a severe beating from Leo and several apprentices. Hey, Ethan, don't think I don't know about your filthy deeds. You're using the excuse of being exes to string along with your ex while you're engaged to my junior apprentice. You want to have your cake and eat it too, keeping your main relationship while having affairs on the side, right? Do you think just because my father, my mentor, and his wife are gone, support system, your family can just bully her however they want? Dream on. I'm telling you, even though my father, my mentor isn't here, all of us, her senior male and female apprentices, are her family. Go back and tell your parents that if they don't pay back the money within 3 days, I'll buy a megaphone and go to your apartment complex to give your family some good publicity. Ethan's family eventually paid off the Serenity Clinic's outstanding debt. There was nothing they could do. Robert and Margaret had been respectable people their entire lives and couldn't afford to lose face like that. I heard that day at the Serenity Clinic, after settling the debt, Robert slapped his son hard. At this point, I had already arrived at the airport, escorted by Leo and Sophia. Grace, remember to let us know you've landed safely after your flight. If you don't have enough money abroad, just call us. Remember, Grace, your senior male and female apprentices are all your family. My eyes welled up with tears, and I tearfully hugged Leo and Sophia one by one. Just as I was about to say something, a commotion suddenly erupted behind me. Grace! Grace, don't leave. Ethan stumbled over, his eyes bloodshot, staring at me. Chloe followed behind him, her eyes full of jealousy and provocation as she looked at me. Ethan, don't be like this. You and Grace have already broken up. Didn't you say that adults should have adult maturity? Ms. Jiang wants to go abroad, you can't stop her. Ah. Ethan forcefully flung Chloe's hand away and backhanded her across the face. To hell with adult maturity. My good fiancé is running away, what do I care about saving face? Ignoring's entanglement, Ethan strode over to me. Grace, you can't do this to me. Just because I stopped by Chloe's place for a shower on my way, you're breaking up with me? Do you know that my parents are being ridiculed by all their relatives because you suddenly canceled the wedding? Grace, please stop making a scene. Come home with me. I promise, from now on, I'll definitely keep my distance from Chloe. If you don't like her, I can cut ties with her right now. Ethan! How dare you? Chloe suddenly shrieked, rushing to Ethan's side and grabbing his hand, pressing it firmly against her stomach. Ethan, I'm pregnant. The baby is yours. What? You. Chloe, when did we have a child? Why didn't I know? Ethan's face went pale. As if burned by hot coals, he quickly pulled his hand away. His gaze, full of suspicion, darted to Chloe's stomach. It was as if she wasn't carrying his child, but some monstrous beast. Chloe looked at him with tearful eyes. It was that night, after you fought with Grace and got drunk. You said you regretted it, and that Grace was too dramatic, and that you still liked someone like me, enough. Ethan roared, his expression frantic. I see as he looked at me. Grace, don't listen to her nonsense, I can explain. I pointed to Chloe's stomach. Explain what? Explain how you were planning our wedding while sleeping with your ex-girlfriend and making a baby? Ethan's lips trembled. That night, it was just an accident, yes. An accident. This child shouldn't exist. Grace, just give me one more chance, and I'll make Chloe get rid of it immediately. Chloe's eyes widened, and she shrieked wildly, Ethan, how dare you? Let me tell you, my parents already know about this pregnancy. If you dare force me to have an abortion, my parents, and my uncles and aunts, they'll never let you off the hook. Watching them turn on each other, I felt a deep satisfaction. Back then, Ethan's parents strongly opposed their relationship because Chloe's family was notoriously difficult to deal with, especially Chloe's father and uncles, who used to be involved in some less than reputable circles. If really married Chloe, their family would never have a moment's peace. Now that Chloe was pregnant with Ethan's child, given the assertiveness of Chloe's family, Ethan wouldn't be able to avoid marrying her. I checked the time, quickly said goodbye to Leo and Sophia, and turned towards the boarding gate. Behind me, Ethan tried to rush over and grab me, but Chloe held him back, clinging to him tightly. In the struggle, Ethan shoved Chloe violently to the ground. Just as I stepped into the boarding gate, I thought I heard Chloe scream. The next time I heard about Ethan, my plane had already landed in Copenhagen. Sophia, holding a bouquet of flowers, gave me a warm, big hug. On the way home with Sophia, I opened my phone and was immediately startled by the flood of missed calls and messages. I deliberately avoided the unfamiliar numbers and clicked on a video Leo had sent me, which was how I learned what had happened. Apparently, that day, as I was boarding, Ethan had violently pushed Chloe to the ground in an attempt to follow me. Chloe suffered a miscarriage on the spot and was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. Chloe's family arrived upon hearing the news, pinning Ethan to the ground and nearly beating him to death. Mr. Robert and Mrs. Margaret, desperate to save their son's life, almost knelt before Chloe's family, swearing they would ensure Ethan married Chloe, which was the only way Chloe's family agreed not to call the police. Word was, as soon as Chloe was discharged from the hospital, her family dragged Ethan to get their marriage certificate. But none of this concerned me anymore. Over the past few years, Chinese acupuncture and therapeutic massage had become very popular overseas. Sophia had opened 8 branches in quick succession. I had grown up helping my father at the Serenity Clinic, so I knew the business inside and out. Not long after I arrived, the new clinic I took over became a popular spot for local influencers. My family's traditional acupuncture and massage techniques attracted many foreigners, and even quite a few people from back home drove long distances from other cities specifically to visit. 2 years later, I officially became Sophia's partner, with 3 branches under my name. It was then that news of a redevelopment project suddenly spread through Old. I heard that the Serenity Clinic my father had left me was also within the redevelopment area this time. Sophia and I were both a bit reluctant to let it go, so we decided to go back and see it one last time. I hadn't expected to run into Ethan and Chloe again in Old. Apparently, after Ethan heard about the redevelopment project in Old, he was convinced I would return, and he had been waiting for me at the Serenity Clinic every day. Chloe clung desperately to Ethan's arm, her voice so sharp it could be heard from across the street. Ethan, you and Grace broke up ages ago. You're my husband now, so what's the meaning of you coming to find her? Ethan scoffed coldly. What meaning? Didn't you buy it yourself? Even after breaking up, we can still be friends for life. Grace's Serenity Clinic is about to undergo redevelopment. She's definitely coming back. What's wrong with me, as a friend, showing a little concern? Concern? I think you're just itching to divorce me and rekindle things with Grace, aren't you? Chloe's eyes were bloodshot. Ethan's face turned ashen, and he violently flung Chloe's hand away. What if I am? If it weren't for you, Grace and I would have been married ages ago, and we might even have children by now. Chloe staggered back, her eyes wide with disbelief. You have the nerve to talk about children? If it weren't for you and that bitch Grace, why would I have lost my baby? It's good that it's gone. If it weren't for that bastard child, why would Grace have left me? Ethan grabbed Chloe by the neck, yelling uncontrollably. If you hadn't tricked me into getting pregnant with that bastard child, Grace and I would never have broken up. Chloe gritted her teeth in hatred. Ethan, you actually called our child a bastard? Ethan suddenly laughed. Chloe, don't play the innocent victim. When you slept with me, Grace and I were already close to getting married. You were the mistress, carrying another man's fiancé's child. What else would it be but a bastard? Chloe's face turned deathly pale. She stumbled back 2 steps, her eyes fixed on Ethan, and then suddenly burst into hysterical laughter. Ha ha ha, Ethan, so now you're blaming me entirely? I'm not innocent, but are you? You clearly knew you were about to marry your girlfriend, yet you kept coming to my apartment, hanging out with me, drinking with me, even showering and staying overnight at my place. Ethan, if you hadn't given me opportunities time and again to come between you and Grace, how do you think that bastard child of yours came to be? Shut up. Ethan lunged forward, completely out of control, and clamped his hands tightly around Chloe's neck. Amidst the chaos, piercing screams suddenly erupted from the crowd. He's killing her! He's killing her! After a brief commotion, police cars arrived, sirens wailing. Several officers swarmed, forcefully pinning Chloe to the ground. Ethan lay convulsing on his back on the worn-out old pavement, a large, shocking pool of blood spreading beneath him. That evening, I saw the news about Ethan on the local news. Ethan was dead, stabbed over a dozen times by Chloe. The most fatal blow had pierced a major artery, killing him instantly. Word was, in an attempt to reduce Chloe's sentence, her family hired many people from less than reputable circles to harass Mr. Robert and Mrs. Margaret daily, forcing them to sign a letter of understanding. However, Mr. Robert and Mrs. Margaret only had Ethan as their son. In the 2 years Ethan had been married, he had consistently refused to share a bed with Chloe, and they had no children. Chloe had murdered their only son, so Mr. Robert and Mrs. Margaret hated her bitterly and absolutely refused to sign any letter of understanding. Ultimately, Chloe was sentenced to life sentence with possibility of parole. The day the verdict was announced, Mr. Robert and Mrs. Margaret fell from the 4th floor. One became quadriplegic, and the other fell into a vegetative state. They lived in an old apartment complex, and the security footage had long been broken, so no one knew how they fell from the balcony. The incident became an unsolved case. Upon learning all of this, I, already holding the redevelopment compensation from the old project, once again boarded a plane going overseas. As the plane flew over the old district, the twinkling city lights outside the window sparkled like countless stars. If hadn't intervened, perhaps I, along with Ethan, would also be one of those twinkling city lights at this very moment. Fortunately, there are no ifs. Leaving the past behind, my brilliant life was just beginning. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoy this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.